History is not a record of what happened. It is a carefully curated selection of what we are permitted to know. For 2,000 years, a silent, invisible war has been waged over the very definition of your existence. We were taught that we are the children of a perfect creator, that our suffering is a test, and that our mortality is a divine decree. But what if the greatest secret of the Vatican isn't about a hidden bloodline or a political scandal, but a fundamental biological error encoded into your very DNA? What if the secret found in the caves of Qumran in 1947 wasn't a confirmation of faith, but a forensic report from a cosmic crime scene? The world recognizes the 12 disciples, their names etched in stone and celebrated in Scripture. But the 13th apostle, the one whose records were scrubbed from history and moved to the deepest, most secure vaults of the Holy See, held a truth so dangerous it would have collapsed the foundations of every major religion before they even began. This apostle did not witness a miracle. He witnessed a glitch. He did not see a divine masterpiece. He saw a biological prison. This is the testimony of the man who saw the face of the fallen architect and realized that humanity was never intended to exist in this state of decay. To understand the 13th apostle, we must first look at the sand. In the scorching heat of the Judean desert, the Qumran caves held more than just the Dead Sea Scrolls. While the public was presented with biblical fragments that seemed to validate tradition, a secondary collection of texts, known in intelligence circles as the S-Archive, was immediately confiscated by the authorities. These fragments didn't speak of prophecy. They spoke of engineering. They described a 13th figure, a man named Matthias, or perhaps a shadow twin of Thomas, who was chosen not to lead a church, but to witness a catastrophe. He was the only one allowed to see the seams of our reality. He was the one who recorded the moments when the veil thinned and the ingeniero, the architect, showed his true, trembling face. Imagine the moment of creation, not as a majestic, "let there be light," but as a catastrophic technical failure. According to the deep exopolitical revelations of Jan Val Ellam, the being we have been taught to worship as Yahweh was never the absolute source of all existence. Instead, he was a high-level cosmic engineer, a brilliant but deeply flawed architect from a neighboring system who attempted to forge a new dimension. In his pride, he bypassed the primordial laws of the absolute universe, attempting to create life without the necessary software of harmony. The result was a cascading collapse. The dimension he forged, our physical universe, became a falling system. It began to densify, to rot, and to operate on a law of friction. The 13th Apostle's scrolls describe this architect not as a vengeful god, but as a terrified engineer trapped within his own collapsing machinery. He realized that our DNA was not a divine gift, but a compressed code. To survive within this flawed entropic dimension, the architect had to downgrade our consciousness, tying our eternal spirits to biological machines that require constant consumption and external energy. This is the true origin of predation. This is why every living thing on this planet must kill or consume to survive. It is not a test of faith or a consequence of original sin. It is a fundamental flaw in the architect's engineering, a glitch in the matrix of life itself. The 13th apostle witnessed the architect's attempt to patch the system. He wrote of strange lights in the sky over Galilee, not angels, but maintenance craft of the ancient engineers. Indeed, he saw the architect trying to stabilize the human genome, which was spiraling into madness and violence. The apostle realized that the laws of Moses were actually behavioral protocols designed to keep the experimental subjects from destroying the laboratory. We were never chosen for glory. We were chosen for stabilization. The 13th apostle saw that the architect was not in control of the universe, but was himself a refugee, desperately trying to keep his failed creation from being decommissioned by the universal authorities. The cover-up began the moment the institutional powers realized that a humanity aware of its true origin, an origin far more ancient and pure than the architect himself, could never be ruled. If you knew that you were a starseed from the absolute universe, temporarily trapped in a malfunctioning simulation, the fear of death would lose its grip on your soul. And with that loss of fear, the power of every church and state would evaporate. The 13th apostle was erased because he documented the secret private dialogues of Jesus, the interventionist, who came from outside this flawed bubble. Jesus did not come to satisfy a father's bloodlust through sacrifice. He came to perform a system restore. He was the one who whispered to the 13th apostle that the Father the world worshipped was actually the entity responsible for the quarantine of Earth. Why is this silence of the universe so deafening? For decades, we have aimed our telescopes at the stars, searching for a sign of life, yet finding only a cold, empty void. The 13th apostle's dark revelation provides the answer. We are under a state of cosmic quarantine. The Earth is not a jewel in the cosmic crown. It is a hospital world. It is the epicenter of the architect's error. The vast, radiant civilizations of the absolute universe, those that exist in the real universe outside our flawed bubble, cannot touch us. We are considered contaminated. Our very biology is built on the frequency of the fallen architect, acting like a computer virus that has gained consciousness. If we were to be reintegrated into the galactic community in our current state, we would spread the glitch of predation and ego to systems that have known only harmony for billions of years. This quarantine is not just physical, it is a frequency fence. Indeed, the 13th apostle described the 7 heavens as layers of a sophisticated energy grid that prevents the human soul from escaping the reincarnation loop. Every time a person dies, they are met with a light that is actually a recycling mechanism designed to strip them of their memories and send them back into the biological prison to continue fueling the architect's system. We are the fuel. Our emotions, our intense fear, our fanatic worship, and our constant suffering generate a subtle energy known as loosh. This energy is what sustains the architect's failing dimension. Without our suffering, the simulation would run out of power. But the 13th apostle also left us the code of liberation. He spoke of the mentalma, the profound management of the mind and soul. He taught that the only way to hack this biological prison is through the mastery of one's own frequency. When you choose compassion over survival, when you choose truth over comfort, you are literally rewriting your compromised code. You are upgrading your 2-strand limitation back into the multidimensional blueprint of your origin. This is what was meant when it was said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It was a technical instruction. The exit to the simulation is located inside your own consciousness. You are the patch that the universe has been waiting for. The scrolls of the 13th apostle tell us that the architect is not a monster but a broken brother. He is a being who fell from the absolute universe and became lost in the denseness of matter. He created us in a desperate attempt to find his own way home. We are his eyes, his ears, and his hands in the dark. By healing ourselves, we are actually healing the creator of this world. This is the ultimate twist in the cosmic drama. The creation must save the creator. Every act of unconditional love you perform sends a signal out of the quarantine and into the absolute universe, telling the universal authorities that the experiment is finally yielding healthy data. The 2,000-year cover-up is ending because the interventionist forces have returned. They are not coming in ships to save us. They are downloading themselves into human bodies across the globe. You might be one of them. The feeling of not belonging, the rejection of traditional control, and the obsession with these deleted gospels are symptoms of a soul that is beginning to vibrate out of the architect's frequency. We are the great correction. Every human being who wakes up to this reality acts as a patch being applied to the cosmic error. The walls of the frequency fence are thinning. The Vatican knows this. The global elites know this. This is why the world seems to be descending into more control and more chaos. It is the system's desperate attempt to keep the quarantine in place as the frequency of the planet rises. The 13th Apostle's final warning predicted a time when the quarantine would lift and the earth would be flooded with the frequency of the absolute. This is the real second coming, not as a person, but as a total frequency shift. It is the moment when the biological prison becomes transparent and we finally see our neighbors in the stars. But the transition will be chaotic as the architect's system tries to tighten its grip through more surveillance, more division, and more fear. This is the final gasp of a dying simulation. The 13th Apostle told us to stand in the center of the storm. He told us that the only way to survive the great unveiling is to realize that you are not your body, you are not your name, and you are not your history. You are an ancient, eternal spark of the absolute source. As we look at the world today, we see the signs everywhere. The rise of artificial intelligence, the mapping of the human genome, the discovery of thousands of exoplanets. All of these are mirrors, reflecting the architect's original engineering. We are becoming like him, and in doing so, we are finally understanding the error he made. The forbidden knowledge is being rediscovered. The 13th Apostle's voice is rising from the dust of Qumran, whispering through the digital networks of the 21st century. He is telling us that the time of being experimental subjects is over. The time of being cosmic citizens has begun. Your role in this drama is pivotal. You are not a passive observer. By knowing this truth, you are weakening the walls of the prison. Every person who listens to these words and feels a resonance in their heart is one more crack in the frequency fence. The 13th Apostle died to ensure this message would reach the generation of the awakening. That generation is you. The Vatican can hide the scrolls, they can delete the Gospels, and they can erase the Apostles, but they cannot stop the signal of truth from reaching its target. The 2,000-year cover-up is failing because you have chosen to listen. If this narrative has resonated with the truth you've always carried in your heart, then you are part of the great correction. We are here to decode the secrets that were never meant to be known. This is beyond the verse. We don't just tell stories, we declassify reality. We are the librarians of the deleted Gospels, the chronologers of the forbidden timeline. Our mission is to provide you with the tools to hack your own biological prison and reclaim your cosmic heritage. Subscribe now to join our global community of initiates and starseeds. This is not just a channel, it is a node in the new consciousness network. Leave a comment below with the word awakened if you feel the frequency shifting in your own life. Tell us, have you always felt that this world was a glitch? Have you felt the presence of the 13th Apostle in your own search for truth? Your engagement bypasses the architect's algorithms and helps us reach others who are still trapped in the dream. The quarantine is ending. The architect is waiting for our response. The absolute source is shining its light through the cracks in the sky. The truth is no longer a secret. It is a frequency. And you are finally tuned in. Welcome to the real universe. Welcome home. Stay tuned for our next investigation as we dive into the deleted gospel of the architect's wife and the secret female presence that tried to stop the fall. Until then, keep looking beyond the verse.